Hello, and welcome to The Bard's Truth with your host, the Green Bard. This is Kingsblood 10, Wraiths, Have Zombies, Hambies, or Halfbies, a Halloween episode. It occurs to me that there are a couple characters that may or may not have died yet in our story, but are close enough to being undead that it doesn't really matter. I'm referring to, of course, Melisandre and Bloodraven. I think I might call them Wraiths. Some may call them half-zombies. The kids may call them Hambies or Halfbies. Whatever you want to call them, they can no longer be called human. Brynden Rivers, Lord Bloodraven, Hand of the King, 993rd Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, the last Green Seer. Bloodraven clings to life deep in the forest north of the wall, impaled on a throne of roots inside a cave below a great weirwood. And he's been there for nearly 50 years, while the trees slowly consume his human flesh. He is a husk, a wraith, clinging to life, he claims, only to be there to teach Bran to take up his helm as the last Green Seer. Assuming it to be the year 300 AC at the end of A Dance with Dragons, that makes him 125 years old. Long beyond the span of a normal man's life, we can only assume he is kept alive due to the magic of the weirwoods. But is he even alive? Was he ever? By all accounts, Bloodraven, even in life, could barely claim to be a member of humanity. He has no scruples, only ambition, zeal, and cunning. He is also a Green Seer, the most magically powerful being in Essos and Westeros. His enormities include regicide, fratricide, incest, genocide, war crimes, oath-breaking, nepoticide, and treason, the last of which got him sent to the Wall, where he added desertion after serving as Lord Commander for 13 years. Those, however, are only his carnal sins. His magical sins may include one of the abominations from Varamir Sixskin's prologue to A Dance with Dragons, skin-changing the body of a man, although we can guess he has committed the other two abominations as well. In the published works, we first learn of him in The Sworn Sword. "How many eyes does Lord Bloodraven have?" ran the riddle Egg had heard in Old Town. 1,000 eyes and one. He is first mentioned in the main A Song of Ice and Fire storyline in A Feast for Crows. "Bloodraven," said Darian. "I know a song about him. 1,000 eyes and one, it's called. But I thought he lived 100 years ago." That's from Sam's POV. The 1,000 eyes and one bit from both passages, and many other passages in The Sworn Sword, and the most recently published book in the universe, The Mystery Knight, is a reference to his uncanny ability as a spy, which heavily implies his use of skin changing. Though he undeniably skin changes ravens for his spycraft, being a son of House Blackwood with their renowned Raven Tree, he no doubt uses other beasts as well. But does he also skin change humans? Many fans theorize that he glamours himself to pose as the knight Sir Maynard Plum in The Mystery Knight. I wonder instead if he invaded Plum's mind temporarily to spy on what Egg calls a traitor's tourney at the Butterwell estate. I don't have any proof for this other than the thought that it would be logistically difficult to lead an army to the scene of the tourney if you were already there yourself. But I digress. Whether it was glamour or skin changing, he used his power ruthlessly to put down the Second Blackfyre Rebellion and captured Daemon Blackfyre II. One thing we can say for him, though, his ruthlessness does always tend toward increasing the power of House Targaryen, including the elevation of Aegon V Targaryen, to the throne, which some say replenished the dragon blood to the family. I would say that he likely is aware of the Song of Ice and Fire prophecy introduced in House of the Dragon, and that is the driving force behind his Machiavellian behavior. One might say he is a bastard, House Targaryen's bastard. In the main series, we first see him in the aforementioned cave waiting for Bran when Cold Hands delivers their party in A Dance with Dragons, Bran 2. "Before them, a pale lord in ebon finery sat dreaming in a tangled nest of roots, a woven weirwood throne that embraced his withered limbs as a mother does a child. His body was so skeletal and his clothes so rotted that at first Bran took him for another corpse, a dead man propped up so long that the roots had grown over him, under him, and through him. What skin the corpse lord showed was white, save for a bloody blotch that crept up his neck onto his cheek. His white hair was fine and thin as root hair, and long enough to brush against the earthen floor. Roots coiled around his legs like wooden serpents. One burrowed through his breeches into the desiccated flesh of his thigh to emerge again from his shoulder. A spray of dark red leaves sprouted from his skull, and gray mushrooms spotted his brow. A little skin remained, stretched across his face, tight and hard as white leather, but even that was fraying, and here and there the brown and yellow bone beneath was poking through. "Are you the three-eyed crow?" Bran heard himself say. "A three-eyed crow should have 3 eyes, but he has only one, and that one red." Bran could feel the eye staring at him, shining like a pool of blood in the torchlight. Where the other eye should have been, a thin white root grew from an empty socket, down his cheek and into his neck. "A crow?" The Pale Lord's voice was dry. His lips moved slowly, as if they had forgotten how to form words. "Once I, black of garb and black of blood." The clothes he wore were rotten and faded, spotted with moss and eaten through with worms, but once they had been black. "I have been many things, Bran. Now I am as you see me, and now you will understand why I could not come to you, except in dreams. I have watched you for a long time, watched you with 1,000 eyes and one. I saw your birth, and that of your Lord Father before you. I saw your first step, heard your first word, was part of your first dream. I was watching when you fell, and now you are come to me at last, Brandon Stark, though the hour is late." A wraith indeed. While Bran does need to learn the secrets of a Greenseer from this memory of a man, he does not need mentorship from Lord Bloodraven. Bloodraven proved through his crimes during his life and the court at King's Landing that he is not fit to lead men in any positive way. So has he done any better during the past 50 years while tethered to the trees? Not really. He continues to meddle, of course. Here are some of his theorized acts. He was partially responsible for the election of Jon Snow as Lord Commander. He caused the riot of the Black Brothers at Craster's Keep, resulting in Craster and Lord Mormonth's deaths, after earlier causing Gilly to meet Sam and Jon, leading to her baby being taken by the Night's Watch, which inflamed the others. He was the one who sent the direwolf pups south of the Wall with Garrett. He caused Jon Snow and Ghost to find the dragonglass daggers at the Fist of the First Men. He lured Bran to the cave, where they are both located at the end of the Dance with Dragons. Some of these acts can be argued to be positive, but some are definitely a detriment to mankind. While that list is not exhaustive, and some of those theories may be incorrect, we can conclude from his body of work that Lord Bloodraven cannot be trusted to be a caretaker for humanity. This is a big problem for those like him, those with God complexes. They think they can do whatever they want, claim it is for the greater good. I talked about that with Tywin recently. And they pretend that those who get stepped on or killed are collateral damage, but it's worth it. People who do this are the worst kind of people in the world. Their Machiavellian tactics are just as likely to lead to ruin as redemption. Take the situation with Bran. Bloodraven clearly lured Bran from Winterfell to the cave north of the Wall, but if Bran is to replace him as the last Greenseer and be the last hope for humanity, is it a safe place for him? Hell no! Bran is in the heart of the territory of the others, the declared enemies to living men. The reason the Wall exists is to defend the realms of men from them. It is no place for a savior of men to reside. Yet that is exactly where Bloodraven has brought Bran. Whether he intends evil or not, Bloodraven's acts inevitably bring it about. He is not to be trusted. Fortunately for Bran, it appears that at the end of A Dance with Dragons, he has learned all he needs to learn from Bloodraven. He now needs to plot his escape from this madman and this death trap. He needs Mira and Summer, and of course, HODOR. Melisandre of Asshai, the Red Woman, Lady Melisandre, the King's Red Shadow, Melanie of Lot 7, Priestess of R'hllor, the Lord of Light. It is interesting what George R. R. Martin does to contrast Melisandre and Bloodraven, despite the two of them having so many similarities. The obvious comparison is that both have lived incredibly long lives and are incredibly powerful magically. I would say that Mel likely would have been a green seer as well if she had been born in the north of Westeros. However, having been born closer to Volantis, she was instead ensnared by the faith of R'hllor, the Lord of Light. As an aside, I don't think that R'hllor actually exists, no more than I think the drowned god exists. Ultimately, Melisandre's visions in the flames are little different from and are derived from the same source, the collective consciousness of the weirwoods, or some other soul-like collective consciousness that might exist elsewhere on the planet. Some might call this the underworld, but it can be summed up as a collection of knowledge of the past that is magically able to predict the future. And in the case of some powerful magic users like Bran and Brynden the Builder before him, touch the past and the future. However, any god that seems to exist in that medium is just a person like Bran or Bloodraven, and anyone who believes differently in universe is simply delusional or brainwashed. I bring this up in the context of the drowned god because Euron Greyjoy directly tells us this when he tells Aeron to pray to me. In this example, of course, Euron is the godlike figure and Aeron is the delusional one. The acts of these godlike characters can be evil or good, but let's agree that they are acts of magically talented inhabitants of Earth, not of supreme beings. With that out of the way, consider a vision Mel has during her one POV chapter in A Dance with Dragons that relates to Bran and Bloodraven, paralleling herself to Bloodraven. A face took shape within the hearth. Stannis, she thought, for just a moment. But no, these were not his features. A wooden face, corpse white. Was this the enemy? 1,000 red eyes floated in the rising flames. He sees me. Beside him, a boy with a wolf's face threw back his head and howled. Oh! She considers Bloodraven as the great enemy, the great other. But we know she and Bloodraven are very much parallel characters. Later, she reflects on this vision, suggesting that Bran is some henchman for the great other. Preposterous. The dark recedes again for a little while, but beyond the wall, the enemy grows stronger, and should he win, the dawn will never come again. She wondered if it had been his face she had seen staring out from her flames. No, surely not. His visage would be more frightening than that, cold and black and too terrible for any man to gaze upon and live. The wooden man she had glimpsed, though, and the boy with the wolf's face, they were his servants, surely, his champions, as Stannis was hers. While she clearly gets who and what they are completely wrong, she has a Freudian slip here. She convinces herself that Bran and Bloodraven are champions of the great other, who of course doesn't exist, while stating that Stannis was her champion, not R'hllor's champion. An interesting distinction. This is Mel's ego leaking out, proving my point that she is a godlike figure, perpetuating R'hllor, even though R'hllor doesn't exist. Now, let me be clear, I, of all A Song of Ice and Fire commentators, don't diminish the magical fact that Mel does indeed see prophecy in her visions. I also don't doubt that she thinks she is doing the righteous thing. I just know that she is very fallible in interpreting her visions, but that she will be overconfident in herself due to her religious zeal. In trying to serve her god, she makes the same mistakes Bloodraven does in trying to serve the greater good. And ultimately, she has set herself up as a godlike character, the same as Bloodraven, to fail. She even admits her own fallibility in the preface to the vision we just discussed. The Red Priestess closed her eyes and said a prayer, then opened them once more to face the hearth fire. One more time, she had to be certain. Many a priest and priestess before her had been brought down by false visions, by seeing what they wished to see instead of what the Lord of Light had sent. She also completely misinterprets the other visions she'd seen in this session. Visions danced before her, gold and scarlet, flickering, forming, and melting and dissolving into one another. Shapes strange and terrifying and seductive. She saw the eyeless faces again, staring out at her from sockets weeping blood. Then the towers by the sea, crumbling as the dark tide came sweeping over them, rising from the depths. Shadows in the shape of skulls, skulls that turned to mist. Bodies locked together in lust, writhing and rolling and clawing. Through curtains of fire, great winged shadows wheeled against a hard blue sky. She later thinks the towers by the sea must be Eastwatch, but the fandom has long proven that this is a vision of the Reach near Old Town, predicting the Battle of Blood, as some call it. Her visions are true, her interpretations are wrong, and people die when they are. Her biggest mistake so far might be that she thinks Stannis is Azor Ahai reborn. In her zeal to make that true, she has already caused the death of Crescent, burned many minor characters in sacrifice, and nearly sacrificed and burned the boy Edric Storm. As evidence for Stannis not being the Lord's chosen, she says this when questioned by Jon Snow about her recent visions while looking for Stannis. "When I search for him, all I see is snow." That, of course, implies that Jon Snow may be closer to the mark as Azor Ahai reborn. Might she infer this as well? When she searches for her Lord's chosen, all she sees is snow. Jon Snow. I fear that will make her panic when Jon Snow shows up dead in the Winds of Winter. I predict that that panic will cause her to successfully sacrifice a child, Gilly's son, in a potentially successful attempt to revive Jon. This will be her transformation from soldier for the light, with righteous zeal, into failed murderer. Jon won't thank her for it either. She'll be expelled from Castle Black with the remainder of Stannis' folk, and eventually combine forces with Stannis at the Night Fort, that grim place. Horror will ensue. When the others bring the fight to that ancient fort, Shireen will also be sacrificed, most likely unsuccessfully. This will seal Stannis' and Mel's failure in horrific fashion.
Where's my father? I want to see my father.
It will all be over soon, Princess.
Where's my father? No, you can't do this! Father, where are you? Please, let me see my father! Father, where are you? Don't let her do this! Please, let go! Let me see my father! Where are you, please?
It's what the Lord wants.
Stop! Please!
It's a good thing.
No!
A great thing.
Stop!
Can there be redemption from this? I don't think so. But I can hope she tries for it and goes out with a bang. I was a fan of her final scene in A Game of Thrones, so perhaps there is some
We
hope.
don't act, we'll all starve here.
In conclusion, their magical abilities could bring them to greatness if used well, but their god complexes and Machiavellian values are why Bloodraven and Melisandre, our Wraiths, are ultimately going to be failures. See you next time.
Mother,
Peace.
please! Mother! Mother!
I can't.
There's no other way. She's Kingsblood.
Please,
Lord of Light, protect us!
please! Father!
The night is dark and full of
Father,
terrors.
please! Father! Father, don't do this, please! Mother, no, please! Please help! Don't do this!